When the lawyer read my husband's will, the air in the room felt heavy, almost suffocating. I sat there, my fingers intertwined so tightly that my knuckles turned white. My daughter Emma sat beside me, trembling. The lawyer cleared his throat and said in his calm, professional voice, "To my beloved wife, Grace, I leave an all-expenses-paid trip to Monaco." My heart sank. That was it? A trip? After 35 years of marriage, after building a life, a home, and a family together, that was what I was left with, a trip? The lawyer continued reading, his tone flat and steady. "To my daughter Emma, I leave the family home, the vehicles, and $33 million in financial assets." I felt my stomach twist. 33 million. My mind went blank. The silence in the room was deafening, only interrupted by the faint ticking of the clock on the wall. Emma looked at me, her eyes wide with shock. "Mom, I swear I didn't know," she whispered, her voice shaking. But I couldn't even respond. I felt betrayed, hollow, and completely lost. The man I loved, the man I had stood by for decades through every storm, had left me with nothing but a trip to a place we had only ever dreamed of visiting. That night, I sat alone in our bedroom, or rather, Emma's bedroom now. The lawyer had been clear, everything legally belonged to her. I stared at the framed wedding photo on my nightstand. Richard was smiling, his eyes full of warmth. How could that same man have done this to me? We'd built everything together. I had been with him when we had nothing but love and hope to hold on to. I had worked 2 jobs while he built his business. I had supported every decision, every dream. And now, he was gone, leaving behind not love, not security, but confusion and heartbreak. Weeks passed. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating, stopped caring. Every corner of the house was a reminder of him. His books, his scent, his laugh echoing faintly in my memories, it all hurt too much. Emma tried to comfort me, but I couldn't look at her without remembering that she now owned everything we had built together. "Mom," she said one evening, her voice soft and trembling, "Dad wasn't cruel. There has to be a reason." I wanted to believe her, but the pain was too deep. I felt as though I had been replaced, erased from the life I had helped create. Then one morning, a brown envelope appeared in the mail. There was no return address, just my name written in familiar handwriting, his handwriting. My heart stopped. My hands trembled as I tore it open. Inside was a single piece of paper that read, "Grace, go to Monaco. Everything will make sense there. Trust me, one last time. Love, Richard." I stared at it for what felt like hours. Go to Monaco? The place we dreamed of visiting someday? Was this his idea of a cruel joke? Or was there something more? For days, I tried to ignore it, but the thought wouldn't leave me alone. Finally, I packed a small bag, booked a flight, and left. Maybe I was foolish, maybe desperate, but I needed answers. When the plane landed in Monaco, the sunlight was blinding. The view was breathtaking, the sapphire blue sea, the luxury yachts, the sound of waves kissing the shore. It was a world of beauty, wealth, and peace, everything my heart had been missing. At the airport, a man in a black suit stood holding a sign with my name. "Mrs. Thompson," he asked politely. "Your husband arranged for your stay. Please follow me." I froze. "My husband?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He nodded. "Yes, ma'am. Mr. Thompson arranged everything before he passed." My pulse quickened. I followed him through the winding coastal roads until we stopped in front of a stunning white villa overlooking the Mediterranean. The sunlight glimmered on the water below. I stepped out of the car, barely able to breathe. The villa looked like something out of a dream, lavender growing by the walls, white roses by the entrance, and a terrace with a perfect ocean view. Inside, everything was spotless, glowing in warm golden light. And on the table in the living room was a bouquet of lilies, my favorite flowers, with a sealed envelope resting beside them. My knees went weak as I reached for it. The envelope was addressed in his handwriting. My dearest Grace, it began. If you're reading this, then I'm no longer there to hold your hand, and I know you must be angry with me. But please, before you let the anger consume you, listen to me one last time. When the doctors told me about my illness, I realized how little time I had left. I knew there would be chaos when I was gone, lawsuits, greedy relatives, and vultures circling our fortune. I left everything to Emma on paper so that no one could take it from either of you. It was the only way to protect you. But the truth is, this villa, these accounts, and several investments here in Monaco, they're all in your name. I wanted you to have this place, the one we dreamed of retiring to. You always said you wanted to see the sea every morning. Now you can. Live, my love. Don't just survive. Please forgive me. Love, always, Richard. The letter slipped from my hands as I burst into tears. The room spun around me. He hadn't abandoned me. He had protected me. He had loved me enough to let me hate him, just so he could keep me safe. Behind a painting on the wall, I found a small safe. Inside were documents proving everything, property deeds, account statements, and a note that simply said, "Now it's your turn to live." I stayed in the villa for hours, walking from room to room, touching everything he had left for me. It was as if he had built this place with his heart. On the terrace, overlooking the endless blue sea, I felt the wind brush against my cheek, and for a moment, I could almost feel him there beside me. When I returned home, I told Emma everything. She broke down, sobbing in my arms. "Mom," she said through her tears, "he told me not to say anything. He said you needed to find it on your own, when you were ready." I held her tight and we cried together. For the first time since his death, the grief didn't feel so heavy. It felt like love, quiet, steady, eternal. A few months later, I moved to Monaco. The villa became my home, my sanctuary, my peace. I planted a garden of white roses and lilies, his favorite flowers, and every evening, I sit on the terrace, watching the sun dip into the sea. I think of him, not with sorrow, but with gratitude. He hadn't left me with a trip. He had left me with a chance to start over, a reminder that love doesn't always speak through money or possessions, sometimes it speaks through faith, trust, and a plan we can't yet see. Now, when I watch the waves crash against the shore, I whisper, "I understand now." And in that whisper, I swear I can almost hear his voice in the wind, calm, loving, and eternal. Because true love doesn't end when life does. It just finds a new way to stay. Red Heart.